I have absolutely no energy right now, but I'm really hoping this video hits someone that needs to hear it because I spent like the past 30 minutes kind of self-reflecting and understanding what my biggest setback was. Because I like to self-analyze my life. Like you have to see the chessboard to see like your previous moves, previous mistakes, and see how to progress forward, right? And when I think back to my biggest setback in life, unknowingly, it was enrolling in college. And I hope either someone who is thinking, why should I go to college? I feel like I can do something more in my life. Or you're in college right now, which is a decision I had to make and drop out, which I was enrolled in at VCU in Richmond, Virginia, and now I live in Miami, Florida, which is pretty cool. I got a little fall background. Forgive me because I miss Virginia fall. In Florida, you only get one season, so this is me trying to fit in a little bit. But I want to talk more about like my experience to try to give you some helpful insights, try to help you make a decision. By no means am I saying like drop out of college, but at least let me get you some feedback because when I understand like why I felt the need to even enroll in college, like I don't know what it was. I just never felt called. I never felt like I never pictured myself graduating college my entire life. I never pictured myself pursuing a degree, but unconsciously I just complied with what was normal. You know, my parents went to school. My sister, older sister, she's doing great for herself. She's doing what she wants to do. She went to school, and everyone around me, like I grew up in a suburban town where that was the typical path. You just go down the route of college. You just go to a 4-year university, and there's 2 big schools in my home state, which everyone got into, and unfortunately, I didn't get into. I got into one of them, but I didn't get into the one that I wanted, and that was my biggest mistake. Is that I felt the need to comply with the norms. I felt the need to do something that I didn't want to do when it didn't feel authentic to me. Because let me tell you something. And I don't mean this in a, you shouldn't follow every intrusive thought that you have, but if there's a thought, an idea that comes out of your soul, it doesn't come from anywhere else. That feels authentic to you. That is your own thought. So if you truly feel called to not follow that normal route, because I've always been obsessed with making money. I've always been obsessed with business. I've always wanted to, I don't know what it was. I don't know what I would be doing. I don't know how I'd do it, but I just wanted to have a business. I just wanted to be my own boss, make my own schedule, make my own money, and just be the highest version of myself. And every time I think back to like how I pictured this happening, like I just couldn't ever picture college being in the picture. But I'm like asking myself like why? Because I spent a year and a half in college, and the reason why it's my biggest setback is because I'm very grateful, very fortunate for the position that I'm in right now. I'm 20 years old, living in Miami. Like this is not the peak of my life, but like it's a very good stepping stone. It's definitely like it's an expedited route that I'm on right now that I didn't expect to be in Miami this early. And I'm making shit work, like slowly but surely I'm making shit work. And it was my biggest setback because I think if I could have started out of high school or in high school, the business that I'm doing right now, entrepreneurship, self-development, personal development, if I could have started that being in the gym or with my diet, if I could have started that in high school, I would be on such a greater path than I am right now. Because if I had the same exact determination, because every single day, like I'm just getting 1% better. I'm actively just getting better and better and better every single day. And I wasn't even aware of that back then. And I mean, I think God has a plan for all of us. So it's kind of wrongful for me to, be ungrateful for me being at the position now instead of hoping for it sooner. But again, self-analyzing the past, I wasted time because when I think back to like what was really valuable to me in college, of course the communication skills, of course like the networking when it was really just like socialization. I didn't really gain any very like extremely valuable knowledge or education from like the classes that I took, except one class which was a presentations. It was called winning presentations, where like every single week you would have to give a presentation in front of the entire class, and like it was the most nerve-wracking thing because I never liked presenting in high school. So like in college, that was like my worst fear, right? Talking in public. But I actually really liked it. Like I wasn't really good by all means. Like I wasn't really good at it, but like it kind of broke this mental barrier in my head of feeling self-conscious and caring what other people think about me. It kind of broke that feeling. So that was the only thing I found valuable. Um, Getting into habits, getting into routines was very valuable for college because I went from degeneracy in my first semester to my second semester where I just completely dropped everything. Well, I was really selfish, just meaning that I didn't talk to anyone. I just stayed in the gym, woke up at 5 a.m. every single day, had to walk even when it was freezing cold in the streets of Richmond when no one else was out, to the gym, and then walk back and then go to my classes. And then I literally go to sleep at like 6 p.m. some nights just because I had nothing at all to do. And just because I knew like temptation lives at night. So I just want to go to sleep early. But like the first semester taught me a lot because that was when I was fully just a degenerate, meaning that, and I asked myself like, why did I do this? Because I've never been the one to like go out to parties in high school. I never. Well, except with my boys, like during the end of high school, but that's when like I had the friend group that was all athletes, from different schools too. So it was like we just bonded through basketball, and we didn't really like care to be in a social setting. We preferred just to be like hanging out with the guys. Like that was fun to me. That was fun to us, and that's the social setting that I prefer. Just like my homies. That's it. Um, but I just think that I had to comply with what was normal. I had to put myself into the mental space of a false reality, of entertaining, social events like bars, like clubs, entertaining like pointless relationships, honestly, just talking when you're both like blasted drunk and parties. Like, I don't know. I just hate thinking back to when I used to drink so much because it just felt like embarrassing, really embarrassing. Like if I had a video of me going out to the night scene in Richmond when I was just wasted, bro, it'd be the most embarrassing thing ever. But again, that's why I'm on this video. That's why I'm talking it out, because I think back to like, why did I choose that route of drinking? Okay, I think the lighting is a little bit better, but I asked myself like, why did I entertain drinking? And the one thing that I really liked about it, the one thing that kept me just coming back to it, even though that I just hated the taste of alcohol, I hated the morning after where I felt hungover, where I felt bloated, where I felt overweight, where I had like just, I was gaining so much weight. I was about 205 at my peak. I mean, obviously not good weight. Like I was a skinny fat kind of physique that I had. But what I felt called to was feeling free spirited, because there was something special about being drunk. When I would get to the point of, I guess, like being so drunk where my self consciousness just drops, and I feel like I can talk to anyone and everyone, and I feel like I don't have any secondhand judgment. Everyone around me is just acting like a kid. I just feel free spirited. I don't feel judged. And I think that's what I like the most. And it took so much alcohol to get to that point. And going back to where I'm at right here, I've always had that. I think God has a plan for everything, and I think that was what I had to go through to realize that I shouldn't be embarrassed to just being myself. Not being drunk me is not myself, but like I shouldn't care what other people think. I shouldn't take decisions and second guess myself based on the perspective and the opinions of others. And that's what I really liked about it. I think that's why a lot of people drank. It's because it gave them that feeling of just not caring about what anyone else felt. And I think that's my biggest bless and my biggest curse, because it set me back. It took me down some dark paths. I had massive strain on relationships with my parents, with my close friends, and ultimately, like, it just took me down a dark path. Like, I had a massive strain on all of my relationships, like especially with my girlfriend, with my parents. I remember one night I drunk texted my dad thinking it was my girlfriend, and I asked my dad if he would marry me. That was rough. I showed my boy that the next day over, and he's like, "Bro, you're gonna marry your dad?" Yeah, that was tough. But every single night, like, there's this one spot called Christian's Pizza that we always used to go to after the club, and the friend group that I had, like, I had a friend group like throughout the first couple of weeks, but they didn't have fake ID, so like I kind of veered away from that friend group just because they couldn't go into the social setting that I cared about. And I picked up a new friend group that had fake IDs because that's what I wanted. I wanted to go out to social events like bars and clubs. And they lived in a different dorm building than me, so I was the only one that lived in this certain dorm building. If you know VCU, I lived in Brant Hall, the 15th floor, 15006. But it was like I had to walk back by myself at like 2, 3 a.m. with a pizza. It was depressing, bro. It was depressing. I was like drunk and giggling a little bit, pizza in the hand. It was pretty fire pizza. Yeah, I just look back at that time, and I'm like, that was the most fun I had in college. What? I'm thinking, like, nothing is changing within my character. Nothing is changing within myself. Like, why do I care about that? Do I want to experience like 4 years of quote unquote fun in college? Or do I want to actually like build a life where I can be selfish in my early 20s and work on myself, build myself up so I can provide for others and be selfless in my future? I prefer that one. And I wish I had that realization even going into college, but again, everything happens for a reason. Everything has learning lessons, and it took that experience in college for me to realize that this is what I need to do. So I dropped out. I dropped out of college at 19. Not just that too, I kind of want to touch on this because I want to tell like the whole story, but like when I think back, was there anything significant that was happening in my life that made me a better man in college in that first semester? In the second semester, I spent, like, I know people say like they played video games, brother. I scheduled my days in college around video games. Like, I would literally wake up early just so I could play Minecraft. Like, I built out the entire map in my Minecraft World Survival. I'm gonna flex real quick because I like Minecraft. I don't play it now, and I had to sell. It's funny. The second I sold my Xbox, like a couple weeks later, I moved to Miami. It's weird how it works. But I built out the entire city of Richmond in a Minecraft World Survival. And I would literally schedule my hours around Minecraft. My roommate was like, "Oh, you're playing Minecraft again?" Like, I'm telling you, like, at least 6 hours a day on this world. And it's just something that I like no-lifed, bro. And like, that's where my hours went. Because I wasn't really retaining any valuable knowledge in classes. I just was sitting there unconsciously, like literally just zoning out the entire time. Just my body was there, my mind was not. Thinking about, what am I gonna do this weekend? What can I get for lunch with my my food credits? The Ram bucks is what they called them in my college. But yeah, like it's just a lot of wasted time. My biggest setback was wasting all that time. And I wish I could have got that. I know I'm 20 years old saying like I wish I had more time. I'm 20 years old. But I mean, honestly, like if I put that time towards not even just like trying to make more money, but just bettering myself, because that's what I built this foundation of where I'm at right now, is just bettering myself and just focusing heavy on self-improvement, focusing heavy on like my diet, my physique, fitness, like working on communication skills, working on communication skills is very big, sales skills too. Uh, if I just spent more time, if I spent those 6 hours playing Minecraft, like even just watching like educational videos, brother, I could be in a completely different position right now. But stay tuned in the next couple of months, and you'll see it play out into fruition, because it's surreal how it works. Like I was literally like daydreaming about Miami, not even weeks ago. I mean, not weeks ago, but like months ago before I moved here. Daydreaming, like, could this be my reality for real? And again, stay tuned, because I got some cool things planned up in the next month, which is pretty cool. Um, but yeah, like, I just want to record this video, if you're still watching, as this is my experience with college. Like, I just thought it was a waste of time. The best thing that I got from it was that the socialization, the communication that I had with, I only keep up with one of my friends from college, it's crazy, because I thought I had so many friends in college, and I actually cared about that. I cared about the friends that I had in high school too. My boys from back home, like the group I told you about, that, all athletes, like those are my guys. I still keep up with them. I'm still like supportive of them. They're doing good. Like, they're not on some degenerate shit. But the people, the degenerates, like, I wouldn't say degenerates, because like I actually built a good bond with those people, but like I just don't keep up with them. I don't. We don't have the same environment. We don't have the same goals, the same vision. Don't keep up with them anymore. And the one person from college that I actually keep up with is doing pretty good for himself. He might actually, he was down in Miami a couple weeks ago, and he's gonna be back. So pretty cool how that works. Yeah, I'm not saying drop out of college. I'm not saying don't go to college, but make your own decision. Hopefully this adds some layers to your reasoning of the decision you make. But yeah, I appreciate you watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.